Hey guys, Darth Deuce here. We're going to be taking a look at a pretty cool figure today. Today we're going to take a look at it, the Transformers Masterpiece Takara Tomy MP-11 Starscream figure. I got this for Christmas, which is really cool. It's been a while since I got a Masterpiece figure, so I'm really stoked to get a new Masterpiece. It's the main line of Transformers I want to kind of focus collecting, though they are expensive. And yeah, so let's take a quick look at the packaging first. You get Starscream in this box here. It's got the Transformers Masterpiece logo. Masterpiece is in like a silver. You got Takara Tomy. Got an image of the figure in robot mode as well as in vehicle mode. You've got some writing in Japanese I don't understand. A long life design, not really sure what that means, but yeah, MP-11, Destron, new leader, Starscream. On the side, you just got the same thing there. On the back, you get a bunch of product shots, including how the accessories work and some of the details and whatnot, what the figure comes with. A lot of writing, again, I don't understand. On the top, you got the figure posed there, and the side's the same. So that's pretty much it for the box. It definitely conveys collector's figure, so that's good. But anyways, I'm going to now take a closer look at the figure itself. Alright, and here we have Starscream, and this is a pretty cool figure. It has its issues, and it does use the MP-11 mold. I want to say this was the first figure to use the MP-11 mold. I'm pretty sure it is. This mold has been repainted and retooled multiple times. It's been an upgrade of the original Masterpiece Starscream figure, where pretty much the whole figure, except for the torso, is brand new. As far as I understand it. For the most part, it's an upgraded figure. It has, like I said, some issues. It's been repainted multiple times. I have one of the other repaints. I do have Thundercracker, which I've had for a few years now. There's also Skywarp, which I'd like to get eventually, because I'd like to get all three of the sort of main Seekers in Masterpiece form. So maybe someday I'll get that. It's also been retooled in the Conehead design, so Dirge, Thrust, and Ramjet. And there's also like Acid Storm and Sunstorm and whatnot. I don't know if they use this mold though. But yeah, so let's take a look. If you've been with me long enough, you remember the Thundercracker review. This is the exact same figure as Thundercracker, just with a different paint job to be Starscream, of course. Take a look at the head sculpt. The head sculpt's good. It's the same as Thundercracker's. I really like the sort of gunmetal color they got going for the face. The red eyes is nice, though I wish they were a little more vibrant so you could see them a little better. And the black for the head is good. The sculpt is good. He's in just sort of a neutral sort of facial expression. One thing I really wish they would have added with this figure, or just given it to him by default, is a smirking sort of face, or an interchangeable face where he'd be smirking or something. The neutral face is fine. It looks fine, but Starscream really should have the smirking face. And if you get it in some angles, it kind of looks like he's smiling a little bit, but yeah, it would have been nice to get that. And the rest of the figure, you know, he has his G1 colors, obviously, and the Masterpiece line kind of makes it look like the cartoon, but also kind of adds some realistic touch. So you've got all the sculpted detail and lines and vents and whatnot. You got the little turbines there, look really good. And you got the cockpit and the chest there. Got the arms with the blue on the pretty vibrant and bright blue on the forearms, which looks good. Got the wings there with the upside down Decepticon logo, which is accurate to the show. The null rays, I really like the null rays. They're not just the whitish gray color. They also have this gunmetal color on that too, which looks really cool. And the majority of the figure is this whitish gray color with red and then the light blue flashes in some spots. See, and then the yellow, sort of yellowish cockpit translucent area, the groin area, and then you got the feet here, which has some blue and some gray gunmetal and whatnot. Proportions look really good. I don't have a problem with that. Flip around the side, you got a good side view, and on the back, it doesn't look too bad either. There's not a huge mess going on, which I also really like. One of the things this figure does well is there's not a whole lot of kibble going on, which it kind of fixes from the old mold, which is great. And yeah, he looks pretty good. There are third-party options out there which make him look, which are more cartoon accurate looking, but I personally prefer the sort of in-between cartoon and realism. I like that sort of style, so I really like how this figure looks. And I'm a pretty big fan of the mold, regardless of its issues, which I will get into, I guess right now, because we'll go into the articulation. He's not bad. He's not as good as some Masterpiece, but he's got a ball joint in the head. which, you know, it does what it needs to, and it also has a little hinge, so you can hinge it forward if you want to. He has a ratcheting joint at the shoulders, which is, it's going to be hard to show because I only have one hand, but if you move it up, this piece, this whole torso area doesn't really tab in or connects at all. There's one tab right at the bottom of the waist area where this cone thing can tab into, but it doesn't really work. So I know some people have this figure, if you just move them up, the whole torso will slide up, and if you move the shoulder, this piece that moves because of the transformation will follow it, which is really annoying, and it makes it really not very fun to handle and pose this figure around because of that. But the articulation itself is good. It moves out all the way, and it rotates, which is great, but it's really annoying. Now, mine's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It doesn't move up as badly as I was expecting it to, and for some reason, my Starscream's, I guess, waist slide is actually pretty tight, so I can, you know, take him and, you know, do this, and he's not sliding up, really, or turn him upside down. It's actually not moving, which I know on some people's figures, if you do that, it's moving all over the place, so I'm a little happy I got a figure that actually has good QC control, so good quality control, so that's really good. Though mine arm here is a little loose, kind of flops around, kind of sucks. He'll swivel at the bicep, which will be a little bit hindered by the null ray, but it's not too bad. Double hinges at the elbows, and if you move the elbows up, if I can get that shown, there's actually some nice mechanical detail in there, which is really cool. I always appreciate that. He also has swivels at the wrists, and he has a ball joint at the thumb, a ball joint at the index finger, a ball joint for the rest of the fingers, then a hinge joint at the index finger, and then a hinge joint for the rest of the fingers that are all connected together. The null rays are also on 2 ball joints, so you don't have to disconnect them for the transformation, which is nice, and you can pose them around as you will. He technically has a swivel joint at the waist, but because of the way the transformation works, you're not going to get any of that swivel articulation going. And he has a forward motion with the ratchet and outward motion with the ratchet, which works well. Swivels at the thighs, double hinges at the knees, and then sort of a swivel at the ankle, but it's more or less for the the transformation, so he doesn't have any foot articulation, which is kind of unfortunate. It would have been nice to have some pivot there. Third-party figures have done it, so this figure could have done it as well. Oh, and there's another example of some of the mechanical detailing that goes into the figure. So yeah, he looks pretty cool. Articulation-wise, not bad, but the torso is frustrating. It is what it is. He does have this little feature I forgot to show here on the chest. You can open up these panels, and you can show off. He has missiles in there. They're just painted silver, so there's nothing that not that exciting, but it's a nice little feature they added into the figure, so that's cool. And now we'll get on to the accessories that he comes with. First off, he does come with a collector's card, which I guess isn't really an accessory, but that's cool. It has a really cool drawing of the figure with the Coronation set on. You got the figure, the images, and then you got some stats, which I don't know what they are, but his stats aren't terrible, I guess. So that is pretty cool. And then he comes with a holographic fighter pilot, which I have him actually in him right now, so I can't show that. I'll show it in the vehicle mode, but that's a really nice accessory, which we'll get into later. And then he comes with the Coronation set, which is probably what makes this figure good, even really desirable, is the Coronation set. There are third-party Coronation sets, but I do think the Hasbro one's probably the best. I like how they executed it. It's really cool. And before I put it on, any figure that uses this mold, or at least uses the standard Seeker mold, MP-11 Seeker mold, can wear the Coronation set. They have every figure, Thundercracker and Skywarp and Starscream, all of the ports to put the Coronation set. So if you want to put it on one of the Seekers, you could if you wanted to. Anyways, I'm going to get the Coronation gear on him, and then I will return. Alright, now I have the figure with the Coronation set on, and it looks awesome. It adds a lot of character to the figure, especially when you don't get those interchangeable faces or whatever. This adds a lot of personality to the figure. It's really, really cool. I love the cape. I love how it's plastic and not cloth. It allows you to capture more posing. The shoulder pads are nice, and the crown is super cool. I guess looking at the crown first, it fits well on the head. Kind of sits on the head, doesn't really clip in or anything, but it looks really good. It's in a Vachrome sort of gold color, which is awesome. It has red highlights on it. Very shiny. It looks really, really cool. You also get these shoulder pads, which will hinder a little bit of articulation. They got these little hinged panels there, which is kind of cool to keep them looking good. They're purple, got some line sculpted detail, and you got the gold flashes on them, which looks really good. Doesn't hinder articulation too much the way they're built. The ports that they port into actually have hinges so they can move out, and like I said, these little panels right here hinge around so you can get still around the same articulation. You're going to have to be a little bit creative when you're moving the figure's arms around to accommodate still having the null rays on, but it works, and if you can definitely get the poses you want to get out of them. And flip around the back, so take a closer look at the cape here. Cape does make him a little top heavy because it's a big chunk of plastic, but it does fit on there. It just slides around this back piece here. I don't have it all the way, but you don't really need to have it all the way. And it looks really good. It has a sculpt, so it looks like it's waving around in the wind and whatnot, which is really, really cool. But as you can see, it does have these little, I guess, hinges or whatever, and you can actually open up the cape to be larger, so I will do that real quick. So the cape folds out, and you can get a wider spread to make it look like it's really flowing in the wind, which is really, really cool. And you have ball joints at each side, as well as a hinge or a swivel right at the back here, so you can swivel it all around to make it look like it's flowing more onto one side. You can get some really, really cool and energetic sort of poses that really add personality to the character, which is awesome. I really like that a lot. There are some little nicks and whatnot in the cape, which kind of bug me, but it's not too bad. You're not going to see the back for the most part. And it looks really, really cool. Well, the accessories for this figure are really cool. I do have some issues regarding the accessories. The accessories comes with is great. The Coronation gear is what makes this figure desirable, even more desirable maybe, is a better term. It looks really awesome. I absolutely love that. And the little holographic pilot's nice, whatever. But there's some accessories I wish it came with, like the display stand. Thundercracker came with the display stand, and the previous version of Starscream also came with a display stand where you could, well, I don't display them in their jet modes. You could display them like hovering in their jet modes, or flying in the jet modes, or just hovering in robot mode and whatnot. And I wish Starscream would have came with that. It would have made sense to have, if you're going to include the stand with one of the Seekers, have it with all the Seekers so it looks better on the shelf for them to all have them, instead of just having like one or two have them. That kind of sucks. I wish they would have included that. Thundercracker also came with these missile accessories, which in jet mode, instead of having the null rays, you could have the missiles to have a more realistic look. I would have liked to have that with this figure too. Some people might not care about that, but I like to have the option for that because I liked having the missiles in jet mode for Thundercracker. So I kind of wish he came with those. And I also really think he should have came with a Megatron in gun mode. Out of all the figures that come with Megatron in gun mode, I feel like this is the figure that should have came with it the most. They gave it the Skywarp. I think there's versions of Shockwave that come with it. Soundwave definitely comes with it. I think the older version of Optimus comes with it, the MP-11. And maybe others. Out of all those figures, I can't understand why they didn't give the Megatron gun mode to this figure, especially considering this, I guess you could say this figure is based on the movie, 1986 movie Starscream, and he uses the gun in Megatron's gun mode in a scene in that movie, and I don't know why they didn't give it to him. I mean, for some people it's fine if they have a bunch of masterpieces, they already have that accessory, but I don't, and I would have really liked to have that accessory to pose with this figure. But it's not a huge deal. But anyways, that is it. Starscream in robot mode. We're going to get him... Actually, wait, before we do that, I'm going to do a quick comparison with him in robot mode. We'll be right back. Alright, so the first comparison is with Thundercracker. And they, like I said, they use the exact same mold, but they look really good. I like both these figures for different reasons. I'm a bit more attached to Starscream's character because he's a bit more a major character, and I like the Starscream look. Thundercracker also does a lot of cool things with his paint job. Looks great. He has a lot of cool prints on him and whatnot, which make him look really cool as well. And they look really good together. I like that a lot. It looks super cool, and I really want to get Skywarp eventually to finish the trio. And here he is with the MP-10 mold Optimus Prime. And Optimus is bigger. Definitely bigger. I think Starscream, the MP-11 mold, maybe should be a little tall, slightly taller and slightly bigger. But it's not too bad. For the most part, they scale well. So I like that a lot. It looks really good. Anyways, I'm going to get Starscream in his vehicle mode, and we'll take a closer look at the jet mode. And here's Starscream in his vehicle mode, and the vehicle mode is beautiful. The jet mode just looks absolutely awesome. I have no real issues with it, and it brings up to a problem. One of the biggest problems I do have with the figure, the jet mode seems to be prioritized over the robot mode. Now, it's not complete. That's not completely true, because the changes they made to the original mold were to improve the robot mode over the jet mode, but it still carries over that same problem the original mold had, which is the jet mode is still, I'd say, probably better than the robot mode, or at least more solid than the robot mode, which is unfortunate. One thing I'll show you that I mentioned before in the accessories is he does come with the holographic pilot. And here's the holographic pilot. It has some nice little sculpt detail if you're able to see it, but definitely looks like a fighter pilot. And it's very nice blue translucent sort of plastic. The original one, or the previous releases, came with the Doctor something or other, some character from one of the episodes of the show, and I haven't watched much of any of the show, so I don't know who it was. But I prefer the fighter pilot. It's more generic and makes more sense in the end of the day. And you do have the chair there sculpted in there, and you can just seat the pilot right in there, which is pretty cool. And you can shut the cockpit, and you can see him in there, and that's really cool. And he looks great. You have all the, paint apps and whatnot that you saw from the robot mode. You got the fins here, look really good with the red and the white trim and the blue. And you get that whitish gray sort of paint all throughout, and a lot of really nice sculpted detail. You got the Decepticon logos painted on there. You get the red flashes, a bit of silver flashes. Got the null rays, which is pretty cool. And you got the Decepticon logo right in the middle there, which is really, really cool as well. And it looks really cool. It's also quite big. The jet mode is a really nice size. I really do like that. The length is really good, so that's really cool. It does have working landing gears, you can see. At the back, they just flip out, and then the front, this panel opens and that flips out, and it's on wheels, so it does roll. Not rubber wheels or anything, they're pretty small, but yeah, that's really cool. You can, if I can do it here, you can pull this out and rotate it, or flip it out. And you do have a silver painted radar dish here or whatever, which is pretty cool that you can do that. And a lot of interactivity with this figure actually is in his vehicle mode as well. So you have that. And you can, if I can do it, I don't really have my fingernails. Alright, you do that, pull that out, you got a air brake here. And you do have some die-cast metal for that thing right there, which is really cool. Just slide back down like that. You can, I can't really get in there. You can open up this spot here. If I can do it. There we go. You can flip both these open. And you got some engine detail back there, and those also flip out to become the heels for the figure in robot mode, so that's a really cool sort of engineering there. Transformation itself, actually, I might as well talk about that, is pretty good as well. It's not super hard transformation, but it's still sophisticated enough to be more than easy, but still fun to do, and you don't feel like it's a chore to get it done either. He's got painted on the wings there, you got the red little light painted there, and you got a green one painted over there, which is really cool. And that's pretty much all the features and everything to go on about this figure. And the jet mode looks really, really good. It's solid. Tabs in everything quite well as once you get her all tabbed in. It's really, really cool. I was going to do comparison, but I'm not really going to bother because Thundercracker is literally the same thing, just a different paint job. And I don't want to transform Optimus, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm not going to do that, but, you get the idea. Optimus is lengthwise smaller, and the jet mode looks awesome. Overall, this figure is really cool. The vehicle mode's amazing. The robot mode's still pretty good despite its flaws. I think it could have came with some more accessories to make it maybe a little more worth the price. You can get this figure currently at Big Bad Toy Store. That's where I got it. My parents got it for me for Christmas. That's where it was purchased. It's not a bad price there, but I think for the price tag it could have came with those accessories that I mentioned before, and it would have made it a little more worth it. But if you're a Masterpiece collector, You collect Seekers and you're a Starscream fan, I would definitely recommend getting this figure. It is really great. I like this mold. And I think it's a great figure. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next video.